Welcome along. My name is Zuri. I'm going to take you through this hip mobility part 2. I've already done one video. You can scroll back and look at other videos that I've got listed here. And this one is going to be a point of difference. We're going to focus on a different way to get some movement into the hips. And the hip joint is quite a complex joint, and what we tend to notice is we tend to prefer one style of movement for our hips. So a lot of people like going out and doing things like walking or running or cycling, but that really just targets a very simple plane of movement of the hip joint. So to get the hips being really healthy, we need to look at all the different ranges of movements we have available at our hip joint. So that means doing some movements that you may not be comfortable with, or your body may not be used to be doing. So the only way you can improve the range of movement at your hip joints is to change up what you do in terms of exercising and movement for your hip joint. So this is a point of difference from the last hip mobility video. Hope you enjoy it. We're going to start you in child's pose. So come with your big toes together, your knees slightly wider than your hips, and just rest the body. I'm going to stretch out. And this is just create a little bit of space across the back of my hips, the area that sits across the back of the pelvis towards the lower back. And just opening up through the hip flexors, the knees just slightly wider than the hips, the big toes touching, the arms extended and stretched out in front. So if you've been doing a lot of sitting, or even if you've been doing a lot of walking or running or cycling, this is an area of the body that can get quite tight. Doesn't matter whether you're active or inactive, the two have the same effects on the body. So if you do a lot of sitting, you can get tight across the lower back and the hips. But if you're very active, they also can get quite tight from overuse. So everybody needs stretches like this. So it's just nice release. Just take a couple of breaths. And just calmly breathe in and breathe out. And when you feel ready, come on up to your hands and your knees. Have your hands under your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. So there's that straight line from knee to hip, on the top of the feet pressing down lightly onto the mat, as though you're drawing your shins a little closer towards the ground. Take a breath forward and bring your heart, your chest forward as you focus on moving through your pelvis, through your hips here. Tuck your tailbone under, rounding, a little bit like the child's pose, as you create space across the back of your hips. Inhale forwards, known as a little back bend. Exhale, tuck tailbone under and round through the back of the body. So inhale forwards. So you'll notice I am creating movement through the hips, through the pelvis, as well as opening up through the chest. So really what I'm focusing on is the movements from the shoulders all the way down towards the hip line. It's a movement known as the cat and cow. I'll just do two more, breathing in as you come forwards. Exhale, round. And last one here, breath in. Long breath out, exhale, rounding. And as you come back to neutral spine position, big toes together once again, stretch back into child's pose. So we'll take a little rest in between each of these. Just take a couple of rounds of your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you come up, opposite hand, opposite leg is going to extend. So same base position, wrist under shoulders, knees under hips. Reach the right arm with your left leg away. And just try and find a point of balance, maybe looking forward slightly. Try that on the other side. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Thumb towards the ceiling. Press out through the toes so you're activating through the front of your hip, and then lower down to where you started. Right arm, left leg. Come back to center. Opposite arm, opposite leg, go out to extension. Find that point of balance. Pointing the toes and lower. We'll do two more rounds. So I'm coming back, right arm, left leg. Come back to center. Left arm, opposite leg. Find that stillness. One more round. One arm, opposite leg. So we started on the right, And to finish the sequence off, finish with your left arm, opposite leg. And as I come back through the centre, again, big toes together, knees slightly wider than the hips, sit back. This time just sweep the arms behind, just a point of difference. Just relax across the back of the shoulders. Let your knuckles rest on the mat with your palms gently turned up. So if you're feeling any tension, any tightness through the wrist, just a nice little release there. And gently bring your body up again. Come back to that all fours position. Extend the right leg back, but this time flex the foot. So you're pushing out through your heel. I want you to bring your right leg and cross it over the left as though you're about to touch down towards the left edge of the mat and come back to centre. So it's going to come over and across and back to centre. So you move your right leg across the middle of your body, almost to touch the left edge of the mat and back to centre. So it's coming across the midline of the body. We'll go for 4 more. Cross it over and down and back to centre. Cross it over and down and back to centre. 2 more. Cross it over and down. Last one here. Cross it over and down and come back to centre. Knee under your hip. So try exactly the same on the other side. Chest open, keep a neutral spine position, draw the belly up underneath. Extend this time the left leg back, foot is in flexion. You move the left leg across to the right, it'll either touch the right edge of your mat or just off the edge of the mat. So it's coming across, tapping down, back to centre. Across, tap down, come back to centre. Bring it across, tap. We have 4 more to go on this side. Over and across, come back to where you started. Over and across. Just 2 more, take your time. Cross, tap the toes. Last one here. So when we come back to where we started, once again, sit back into child's pose. Big toes together, knees slightly wider than your hips. You can have the arms out in front, or again, take the arms behind your body. Take what you need, listen into your body. Again, just settle the body, rest the body, take a couple of rounds of your breath here. Point of difference this time is to come up but come down so the weight is down more through your forearms. So you're aiming to have a straight line from shoulder to elbow. And this time as I lift the right leg, you're going to bend the knee, have the knee in line with your hip, and the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. Draw the belly in nice and tight and start to lift that leg up and down. So keep the 90-degree bend at the angle, and you lift up and you lower down. Lift, 4 more, push, draw it down. 3, 2, last one. Bring that leg all the way down. So it's just taking some of the stress out through the wrist, bring the weight down through your forearms. Try the same. We'll do the left leg. Knee bent to 90, sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. The foot is in flexion. You lift and lower. Lift and lower, pressing the sole of the foot towards the ceiling. Let's go. 4 more. Take your time. 3, 2, last one. Bring it down, lower, and then roll over onto your side. So as you come onto your side, straighten that bottom arm. Bring both of the knees towards the front edge of the mat, feet in flexion. You can choose to cup that hand under the back of your head, lean into your front arm, take a little bit of space between the knees. Knees are stacked, hips stacked, feet stacked. Lift this top leg and we'll do 8 counts. Lift and lower down. Lift, a little bit of space at the bottom. Lift and lower. Control the lift and the lower. Last 4, lift it slowly, lower slowly. 2 more. 1 more. Bring your heels to touch. External rotation. So the heels are almost pinning together, creating space between the knees. Lower that top knee. Open and close. Open it and lower it. Let's go for 4 more. Take your time again. 3, 2, last one. Take this top knee, bring it down and around. Knee to knee, heel to heel. Knee to knee, heel to heel. knee, heel. Let's go. 4 more. Rotate it. Getting lots of movement into that hip joint. Breathing in and breathing out. Last one here. As you bring the knees to touch this time, elevate so both the shins, the feet are off the ground. Open like you did with the second one and close lightly. When I'm closing, don't bring the knees all the way down. Just keep a little bit of space between the knees. 4 more. 3, 2, last one. Bring the legs down. So a little reset here. We're doing 1 more. Lift the feet, lift the shins. Open up, keep this space, lean into that front arm. Extend that top leg away, hamstring curl. And try that again. Point, curl. Point, curl. Reach out the leg on an angle. Reach it away from your body, reach it towards your body. 4, 3, 2, last one. Reach, extend, curl it in. Lower the knee, lower the feet. Maybe give it a little tap out, a little rub, a little release. Lift the body. We change, we do exactly the same set on the other side. Line your body up at the back edge of the mat. You can have your head all the way down, or take your hand under the back of your head and bring the legs towards the front edge of the mat. So once the body has lined up, known as the fetal position, knees in a straight line out from the hips, the feet in a flex position, top arm in front, shoulder away from the ear. Let's lift the top leg and then start to lift again. Lift and lower. So you're lifting from an already slightly lifted position. Keep it in flow. 4 more. 3, 2, this is your final one. Bring your heels to touch. Externally rotate that top leg. So you're turning the knee as though it's drawing up towards the sky. Open out, bring back to center. Keep it in flow. Let's go for 4 more. Slow it down. 3, 2, final one. Bring the knees to touch. So knee goes to knee, heel towards the heel. Knee down, heel down. Keep it in flow. Again, just moving calmly and quietly. 4, 3, breath out. 2, 1 more round. As we bring the knees to touch, elevate the feet, the shins away from the ground. Like the second one, open and close. So we're opening up the shell, keep those heels pinned together. Open, slow, lower. Open, 4 more. Breathing in. 3, breath out. 2, last one. Come back to where we started. Lower the feet towards the mat. Last one. We're almost there with the sit. Lift the feet, lift the shins away from the floor. Come into open, extend top leg, hamstring curl. Go out to extension, curl. Point the toes, come back through flexion. Control the movement. 4 more. Here we go, team. Point, flex, point, curl. Last 2. Final one. Really feeling that now. Lower, release, little tap out. If this is where you were feeling it, give it a little rub. Roll back over onto your back. Shoulders back. And just to do a nice little stretch midway. So we're including exercises and stretches as we go through this practice. Bring the right knee towards the chest. I take that opposite foot towards the opposite thigh. Gently draw the knee out. Knee wider than the hip. So getting a nice deep stretch into the glutes, into that hip flexor. Take a couple of breaths. Maybe here is all you need. If you wanted to reach the hands between the legs, you could bring both the legs a little closer towards the midline of your body. Try not to give too much. And try that on the other side. Both feet to the ground, left knee to chest. Bring it in, give a little hug in towards the body. This is your first stretch, and it really opens up. So stretch into the back of the hip flexor, coming into slight compression of the front of your hip. Opposite foot, opposite thigh. Just gently draw that knee. No need to push it. Don't force it. Soften through your knee joint. Just allow the leg to go wherever it needs to be. This might be all that you need. You could stay here. Otherwise, reach the hands between the legs and lift that supporting leg, bringing it in just a little closer towards the middle of your body. Just And relax the shoulders, maybe relax that lower jaw. And then bring both knees towards the chest, so hugging knees to chest. And maybe just rock gently from side to side, a little release, a little massage through that lower back. And then gently nod the head, roll up to a seated position. Again, come back onto all fours. This is a position we use quite a bit. At the beginning of the practice, wrist under shoulders, knees under your hips. We start off in that classic box shape position. Take your right leg and just extend and lift it and lower down. So you're moving the leg to the side. Open it out to the side and bring it back to center. Open it out to the side, bring it back to center. Open and lower. 4 more. Open to the side, center, keep looking forwards. We'll do 2 more. Out to the side, last one here. And then lower down. We'll try exactly the same on the other side. So left leg this time. Keep the center of the body nice and still. Foot can be in flexion. Move the leg to the side. Open it out. Draw the knee under your hip. Move it away. Draw it in. Next. Let's go for 4 more. Reach it away. Pull in. Keep the breath. 2 more. You may feel the difference between the 2 sides. May feel totally the same. Reach it away. And once again, come back into child's pose. Big toes together. Reach the arms out in front. Forehead can soften onto the mat. Breathing in. And breathing out. Just a couple of rounds of your breath here. And coming back to something very similar. Coming up. So that little break will just release any tension that may be building up through the wrist, through the shoulders. Come back to that box shape position, wrist under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Let's come back to the right leg again. Cock that leg as though you're drawing it out to the side. And then circle the leg around and under, around and under. So it goes out to the side, around and under, out to the side, around and under. 2 more. Cock the leg around, draw it underneath your body. Last one. Ooh, a little stronger. Try it on the other side. Hover the left leg, move it out to the side, move behind, down and under. Like you're drawing a circle around and in. Move it away, around and in. Move that leg away from the body, behind you and under. Last 4. Around, down, under. 3, 2, final one. Ooh, and again, sit back. I'm getting a little bit warmer now. Either with the arms out in front or again change the angle. Have the arms behind you. Nice release. Relax the fingers. Rotate the palms up. Just allow the rest of the knuckles to rest on the ground behind your body. Take a breath in and a long breath out. Coming to a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall. And take the legs out in front of us. We want to have some space between the feet, a little bit of space between the knees as well. Leaning over towards your right side, drag that left leg behind you and curl the right leg in. So the front leg is externally rotated, the back leg internally rotated. Lean slightly over that right leg. You may just come down onto your forearms or you may be able to come all the way down. Just gently does it. Going in for a deeper stretch into these areas of the body. And as I said earlier, your front leg, we're working into external rotation, back leg working into internal rotation. Doesn't really matter how far you go down, just working into, again, the hip joint. You may feel a gentle stretch into the top of your thigh, into your quad muscle here. Let's take a couple more rounds of your breath. Walk the hands back towards the body. So if again you lean to the right so that you can bring that back leg around in front. So you're almost in a cross-legged position. Now I'm going to lean to the left and take that right leg behind. My left leg is already there in the position that I need to be in. So now I've externally rotated that left leg and I've come into internal rotation of that back leg. Take a couple of breaths. What tends to happen is if we hold a breath, it can just feel like it's about to cramp and we just lean forwards. So I'm just leaning forwards, down, almost like I'm leaning over slightly towards that front leg. So I've moved away from this hip. And again, for some of you may feel that into the quad muscle. You may feel it as you're moving away, deep into that hip socket. Can't emphasize enough how important it is that you're really taking deep breaths here. Visualize or imagine that you're breathing into your hip joints. Maybe just a couple more rounds of your breath here. And one more round of your breath. And if you do find that it cramps, do those deep inhales and notice if that makes a difference. Keep the legs in the same shape. Again, lean to the left. Release that back leg as you bring it around. So we should be back into a cross-legged position once again. Wonderful. And then come to roll down towards your back. Hands on the back of your thighs. Gently C-curve the spine as you lower. Shoulders back. Head is supported. Palms pressing down. Reaching out towards the tips of the fingers. Start with the feet flat, with the knees in a bent position, and just extend and straighten your right leg out. So it's on a high 45, almost to the point where the knees line up towards each other. Lift this right leg straight up, rotate it subtly inside to brush right past that left leg and hold. This time move it away. So again, we're working into internal, external rotation of that leg. Comes up, rotate in without moving the left leg, then lift it up and rotate it out, again without moving the left leg. So the key here is to try to create the movement just through this hip joint, whereas your left leg and your left hip stays completely still. And keep using the core, press your belly back towards your spine. One more on the inside, internal rotation. Last one here on the outside. Come back to where you started and lower that foot towards the floor. Try it on the other side. So now the right leg is staying grounded, staying bent. Left leg has extended on that high 45. Lift the leg straight up, the toes are pointed. Rotate in, down, hold. Lift it up, rotate out, down, hold. The other key here is to try and keep the shoulders completely still. There is a tendency for the shoulders to kind of move to help and assist the movement. Really just trying to move the leg around within your hip joint. Rotate inside, pause, rotate outside. We'll do one more on each side. Lift the leg up, rotate in. Last one here. Externally rotate that leg. Come back to where you started and lower. From this position here, straighten both the legs out, feet in flexion. Flex and point the toes a couple of times. Flex the feet, point the toes. Flexion, point. Let's do two more. Flex the toes and point. Come back into flexion. Hover the right leg, point the toes, go straight up, flex to lower. Breathing in, breathing out. Point lift, flex lower. Last one. Point lift it up, flex, lower it down. Come back to a little hover and then lower the leg down. Now I keep the right leg still, foot in flexion, hover the left leg off the ground, point the toes, lift it straight up, flex to lower down. And just go into a position that you can hold and maintain, flex lower. It might not be all the way up, but just listen to your body. And last one here, point lift, flex lower, hover the foot, bring both feet back towards the ground. Walk the feet back towards the body, shoulders are back, relax that lower jaw. variation on a happy baby pose. The knees slightly apart, the feet slightly apart, the hips square facing towards the ceiling, shoulders back, head, neck and shoulders resting on the ground. Bring your right knee in only, but try to take the knee slightly wider than your hip or your shoulder. Now check the angles. Foot is in flexion, straight line from ankle to knee, with the knee bent towards 90. Bring your right arm and rest the arm on the inside as though you're about to reach. This depends on the length of your arms and the flexibility of your hip joint. You may be able to reach to the outer edge of your right foot. If that's not comfortable, just reach towards the outside of your ankle, the outside of your shin, or just lightly hold the leg here. Now the key here is try and get the foot in flexion, so the sole of my foot is pointing up towards the ceiling. I have a straight line from my ankle to my knee, and then the knee is bent to 90, the knee slightly wider than my hip, my shoulder. The other leg is completely still, foot in line with hip, knee in line with hip, knee in line with shoulder. So the left side of my body is relatively stable and still on the mat. Let's try that on the other side. So here we go. Right foot is bent. Keep this knee, the foot, the ankle, the knee, the hip all in line with the shoulder as well. Bring the left leg in. Take it slightly wider. Flex the foot. Bring the left arm on the inside. Imagine you're reaching towards the outer edge of that foot. Keep the foot in flexion. Draw the knee down. As you're drawing it down, just take it slightly wider. So getting deep into that hip joint. So opening up, but stabilizing. If you draw the knee too wide, it will feel like you're about to fall over towards the left. So just check in, is my right hip, my right heel, my right shoulder still resting on the mat? And then when you're here, just take a couple of rounds of your breath. Breathing in, noticing it, how it feels. Again, if you're finding it in cramping, ease off and push the leg away from you, or really take deep inhales. Imagining that you're breathing into that hip joint. And take one more round of your breath here. And then bring both the knees towards the chest. Hands can be halfway down the shin, or the hands on the back of your thigh. Again, you could just go for a little rock from side to side, a little massage across the lower back, across the back of your hips. Nod the chin down, come up to a seated position. Sit cross-legged, but with this one here, let's bring the soles of the feet together. So my soles of my feet turn in, and the knees just gently turn out. There's a couple of different options you can try. If you're finding this quite tight in your hip flexors, I'm going to encourage you to sit up on something like a cushion or a rolled up towel or a rolled up blanket. Take what you need. So we've taken the feet and drawn the soles of the feet together so you're onto almost the knife edge of the outer edges of your feet. And then slowly, gently, calmly, quietly, start to extend and reach the upper part of your body slightly forward. So coming into rounding and just allowing the knees to just gently soften. So it's working down through the insides. So maybe feeling that stretch into the inner thighs. You may notice that again into the outside of your hip joint. You may feel it across the back of your hips. Take one more round of your breath here. And slowly walk the hands back towards the body. Straighten the legs out in front of you. Again, a little bit of space between the feet. Bring the right leg in. That's quite important that we have both the sit bones grounded and stable. So I can feel my right sit bone and my left sit bone on the ground. Or if you're sitting on a cushion, you should feel them both connecting into whatever you're sitting on. Lift this right leg and bring it up and over, but just check in that your right sit bone has stayed grounded. Use the opposite arm to hug that leg in really close, like you're bringing it towards your heart, towards your chest. Keep the front foot in flexion and gently rotate. Now don't turn too far. The most important part of this is feeling that stretch into the outer thigh. So into this IT band that runs on the outside of your thigh and deep into the glute muscle. So we're rotating, gently twisting, and the focus is into the outside of that right hip. Again, a couple of rounds of your breath, and breathing in and breathing out. And keep the front foot active, the foot is in flexion, the toes of that front foot pointing up towards the ceiling. Come out of it just as slowly as you went into it, and release that right leg and slide it away. A little bit of space between the feet, between the knees. I bring my left leg in. Can I feel the weight into both my sit bones? It may be that you need to keep this leg on this side. For you, that might be enough. And you just rotate and turn around. But for me, I need to bring the leg over to really feel it deeper into, not just to my glute muscle, but into the outer thigh. And I'm hugging it in. So I'm hugging that left leg really close towards the middle of my body. And then once I've got that position, just gently turning and rotating. Not too bothered about the twist in the practice here today. More important that we just get that feel and that sense of that connection into the outer thigh and deep into your left hip joint. And again, the breath. The breathing is always the most important part of these stretches. Trying not to hold your breath. It really helps you to keep your focus connected into the pose as well. And as you gently release out of it, come out of it just as slowly as you went into it. Release that leg and try sitting cross-legged. If it's not comfortable sitting cross-legged, I'm going to encourage you to find a position that works well. And again, it could be with the legs straight out in front of you. So just notice, how does that feel sitting cross-legged? We've done a lot of work into this area of the body, and generally what we can find is even just after doing some basic simple exercises, really focusing on one area of the body, we can start to feel a little increase in range of movement. I hope you've enjoyed that here today. I will endeavour to come back in and do another hip mobility part 3 and see if we can help improve your range of movement at your hips. Thank you.